Historic Scandals Show. On here, we cover historical scandals, but we have never covered a scandal like this one. The Warren Harding administration scandals. Warren G. Harding was the 29th President of the United States. He did not complete a full term due to his sudden death in 1923 from a heart attack. Before becoming president, Harding served in the Ohio State Senate and lieutenant governor. And fun fact, during his campaign for president, Ohio admirer Harry Doherty promoted Harding by saying he looked like a president, which I think is total baloney. Harding won the election by a landslide of 60%. Warren Harding's presidency included multiple scandals involving hush money, extramarital affairs, child worn-out wedlock, and criminal activity by the people appointed to high power by him. I feel we should start this story off by talking about the Ohio Gang. The Ohio Gang was a group of political allies and poker buddies to Harding, the leader being previously mentioned Harry Doherty. Harding appointed this group to the cabinet and other powerful positions. Charles Forbes, one of the members and established the Veterans Bureau, was accused of accepting kickbacks from contractors building the veterans hospitals and illegally selling a surplus of medical supplies. He stole more than $200 million from the Bureau. Harry Doherty stood trial twice for selling illegal permits and pardons, but was never convicted. Doherty's private secretary, Jess Smith, committed suicide after finding out from Harding that he had a pending arrest for corruption in a White House meeting. Now let's move on to one of Harding's biggest scandals. Albert Fall, a United States Senator from New Mexico and Secretary of Interior under President Warren G. Harding. He was also, you guessed it, a member of the Ohio Gang. In 1921, Fall leased Navy petroleum reserves at Teapot Dome in Wyoming, as well as 2 locations in California. He only leased these reserves to 2 companies, Harry Sinclair's Mammoth Oil Company and Edward Doheny of the Pan American Petroleum and Transportation Company. People did think it was strange he only leased the reserves to 2 companies. After investigation, it was discovered that he accepted bribes from these 2 companies in exchange for production rights. Fall was then sentenced to a year of jail for misconduct while in office. My opinion on that one, I don't think Warren G. Harding should be that blamed for it. Yeah, he appointed the dude, but it's Albert's fault. Blame Albert. If you thought the Teapot Dome scandal was bad, just buckle up for this one. Harding had 2 public affairs, one discovered in 1927 with a book published by one of his lovers, Nan Britton. Nan Britton was allegedly Harding's niece, and their affair resulted in a child, Elizabeth Ann Blasing. Another affair Warren had was with Carrie Phillips. This affair lasted 15 years or until Harding's death. Carrie was also married to James Phillips, one of Harding's longtime friends. Harding was married to Florence Harding, but they had no family life in the White House, unfortunately. Now, to conceal Harding's multiple affairs, he paid the family's hush money. He paid the Phillips family a $2,000 monthly stipend and $25,000 for a cruise to Japan and China. According to History.com, Warren G. Harding said to reporters that, "It's a good thing I'm not a woman. I would always be pregnant. I can't say no." Who even thinks of that?
Not me.
Warren does. We asked one of Warren G. Harding's mistresses, Carrie Phillips, to have a one-on-one interview about her experiences with Mr. Harding. This was an interesting interview. Here it is. Thank you so much for talking with us today, Carrie.
Thank you for having me, dearie.
Now, Carrie, what was your relationship with Mr. Harding?
Well, he was my husband, James, longtime friend, and we had an affair that lasted about 15 years.
And how was your affair discovered?
In 1963, love letters I have written to Warren were discovered.
Did Mr. Harding try to cover up your relationship?
He often paid James and I what some would call hush money.
Do you mind me asking how much?
Oh, it's fine, dear. He gave my family a $2,000 stipend.
One last question. Did you know of Mr. Harding's other affairs with let's say, Nan Britton?
At the time of our affair, no. But I recently discovered it.
Thank you for your time, Carrie.
No, dear. Thank you.
Throughout my research, I came to the conclusion Harding didn't even want to be in office. He once told Nicholas Murray Butler in a private meeting that I am not fit for this office and never should have been here, end quote. And after becoming president, he admitted to his friend, I knew that this job would be too much for me. Why was he there? Good intentions, not a good president. President Warren G. Harding's scandals weren't even the worst scandals of the time. The Halpin scandal. President Grover Cleveland served as the 22nd and 24th President of the United States. Before his election, he had fathered a child out of wedlock with Maria Halpin. But whenever the child was born, Grover forced Maria to put the child in an orphanage. Sadly, when this came about, Grover was able to survive it because Democratic spin doctors countered with the argument that Maria was a drunken whore and threw her into an asylum, while Grover was portrayed as an honorable gentleman. Another scandal half a century later was Watergate. On June 17, 1972, 5 men were caught going through files and attempting to plant listening devices in Watergate office complex. The trail of this led back to Nixon's Republican administration and even to President Nixon himself. Investigative journalists uncovered multiple cases of abuse of power by Nixon and his administration, including covering up the involvement of the break-in, dirty tricks campaign against Democrats, illegal wiretapping of enemies, and using the FBI, CIA, and IRS as political weapons. 69 government officials were indicted, and 48 were found guilty. And because of this, Nixon became the first president to resign from office. They make Warren G. Harding scandals sound like nothing. But they were bad. Thank you for watching the Historical Scandal Shows. I'm Julianna, and that's Vera. Bye-bye.